Hello everyone and welcome back to Greenpine Zoo and Gardens. Yeah, it is Monday again and it is time to go back into our favorite zoo. So let's have a look what we have done in last week's episode before we start into today's episode. In last week's episode we built a combined habitat for the axis deer or chital and the babirusa. So some of you guys that haven't seen last week's episode might ask, what is the chital? What is the axis deer? Did we have that in the game? Never heard about that. No, we don't have them in the game, but as they do look very similar to the European fallow deer, I decided to have the European fallow deer in here and just give it a different name. So, as I said in last week's episode, the only difference between the chital and the European fallow deer is that the antlers are a little bit different, whilst the European fallow deer has more like shovel-looking antlers. The antlers from the chital look more like those of the red deer. And also the chital is a little bit smaller, a little bit more bulky, I think, and the coloration of them is a little bit more intense than the coloration of the European fallow deer. But after all, the fur of the animals look pretty similar, so I decided it would make... yeah, it would give me the chance to have an animal in the game that we don't have, but pretend to be there. Okay, as you can see, I'm using bad English again. Okay, but I think you guys get what I wanted to say. So, in today's episode, I was asking you guys last week which animal we could build for in today's episode. So, I was looking in particular for a smaller animal, because I thought it would make sense to continue with our natural path and next to the Asian water monitors to have something like a smaller animal in there. And some of you guys suggested that we should build something for the Chinese pangolin, which would have made a great fit, but I do think that the Chinese pangolin would make a better fit in a nocturnal house, because they are nocturnal animals, and if we would have some kind of an outdoor area for the animals, not in the game but in reality, most of our visitors would never see those animals because they would stay inside during the day all the time. So I thought, no Chinese pangolin, and then I think it was Cravanius. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, I just don't know. Yeah, suggested that we could build something for the sloth bear. Well, sloth bear is not a small animal, but I thought that was a great choice, because that is actually exactly the animal that we would need at this point at the zoo. We do have some smaller animals, some smaller mammals like the binturong. We do have monkeys already with the lar gibbon, and we also do have the otters. We do have a reptile. We do have hoofstock now. We do have the pigs. So it is time for a predator. And the interesting thing about the sloth bear is something that I didn't know. I was looking a video, or I was watching a video on YouTube per accident, so I haven't looked for it, with a ranking for the most dangerous bears on Earth. And what can I say? I think it was the polar bear that was on top of the list, and right next to the polar bear was the sloth bear. And I was really shocked by learning that, because I didn't think that the sloth bear was this vicious. But yeah, they are pretty vicious animals. Yeah, never mind. They still will have a home here in Greenpine Zoo. And therefore I'm creating this indoor area right now that is more like a high security area, I think. Yeah, but it is a little bit inspired by the zoo of Leipzig. That has a TV series on German TV that is called, let me think about it, Elephant, Tiger and Co. So with weekly episodes where you can see all the stuff that is going on in the zoo and realizing the master plan that the zoo is working on for about, I think it's 15 or almost 20 years now. I don't know, it's been a long time since they are working on that, and it is amazing what they've done to the zoo so far and how the zoo is looking. It's one of the most modern zoos that we do have in Germany, and one of the most innovative ones as well, and I really like what they've done to this zoo. Yeah, never mind, that was an inspiration for the indoor area here. Also a little bit for the outdoor area, but only a little bit. So, yeah, and it happened once again. I started to talk about something and I totally lost what I wanted to say. Okay. Yeah, I was talking about the viciousness of the Sloth Bears. Okay, so here you can see me building the fence. You might see the bigger part that is left open in all of the separate boxes for the animals. That is thought to be for medical training for the animals. So yeah, most of you guys do know this. In the past it was always very difficult if you had any medical treatment for the animals in a zoo, especially when it were dangerous animals like bears, big cats, big mammals, that you always had to sedate them, that you could actually take care of them. Even just taking a little bit of blood of the animals to check their health was very difficult to do, and many of the times animals had to be sedated for that minor thing to do. So in today's day and time in a zoo you don't do that anymore for this minor things. So what you're going to do is have some kind of medical training for the animals, so that they will learn to put their paws through that little gap that I showed you already, so that you can take blood or check the nails of the animals, control minor injuries and stuff like that. That is not that stressful to the animals as if you always have to sedate them. So that is some part that I wanted to bring in here and take care of, and that's why I left that little gap open for all of the indoor boxes of the animals. So as you already could see, I had to bring a bear in here because I didn't want to make the mistakes that I made in the past with the binturong and with all of the other animals, when I had to go back in there and make changes, especially when you do something in that much detail as I'm doing, when you have to make those doors bigger and whatsoever. So I had to check that the animals actually can walk outside the house, which was quite a funny. You could have seen right now that the sloth bear was able to go out the house. You did see that with the blue marking, so that they were able to step outside into the outdoor area. There's no changes going to happen on the gates to the outdoor, But later on, when the whole habitat is finished, the sloth bears were not able anymore to go outside. I was freaking out because, yeah, you could see I checked that it did work, and then for whatever reason it didn't work anymore. So off screen, in the end, I had to delete the metal beams that were on the left and on the right of the gate for the first habitat, so that the male bear could walk outside. The female was no problem at all. The female could walk outside. And to explain that, the animal that you can see right now is the male. So the bigger one that I checked on. And this one couldn't walk out anymore. Weird. I just don't know why. And as I said, I had to delete the metal beams on the left and on the right of the gate. So everything that we're building later on didn't have an effect on that. It was the metal beams. Weird. Totally weird. I just don't get it, but yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah, but as I already said, I managed to make it work, and in the end the animals can walk outside. As I said, the female can go out through any of the gates, and the male just on the big one on the left side. Whatever. I also made it a little bit higher, the left one, or the right one. Matters on which side you are looking at the indoor area. Yeah, because I needed to be... I needed our keepers to be able to go in the outdoor area, because we do want to have some food enrichment items on the outdoor area, and so we needed to make sure that our keepers can walk outside as well. So next part is to create the keeper area. I did cut out a lot of the stuff because you've seen it already. There's not that much new stuff going on. Just some little parts that I kept in, and I'm going to tell you something about that. But yeah, for the rest of it, I just cut it out because the video would have been so long again to be finally finished. Yeah, just made it a little bit bigger because I thought when it is too tight on the inside, it is very difficult for our keepers to stay far away from the animals to not get hurt or not get possibly hurt by the animals. Therefore, I was using those art pieces. Yeah, that's what they are called. Those art pieces to mark the area around the fence of the indoor area, so that you as a keeper would know which is the dangerous area. So when you step inside the yellow marking, you risk getting hurt by the animals. Okay, so this is the only thing that I actually didn't invent, but the only new addition to the backstage stuff that I did here in Greenpine Zoo for any of the animals. Inspiration for that was actually, or are builds by Caesar Creates. I think I saw it in his last video where he built for the crested porcupine, and there in his indoor area he built something with those boxes like this here, which looks a little bit like in a supermarket, and he also put some vegetables and stuff in there, and I thought that was such a great idea and therefore I copied it and yeah, build it in my own style, let's say it like this. Just trying to make things look a little bit more different from time to time and bringing in some new stuff so that we don't have all the same things all the time in our zoo habitats. Yeah, and once again I want to ask you guys for which animal we should build next. Because everything so far made total sense. And now I'm just a little bit like, yeah, what's next? We could actually build a fake aviary. Some kind like a walkthrough aviary, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, maybe with some actual birds in there. Let me think. We do have some kind of Asian birds. We do have the red-crowned crane. We also do have the peafowl that could also fit in there. And we maybe could also have the mood swan in there. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So what do you guys think? Should we build some kind of a huge walkthrough aviary with these 3 birds in there? Sounds to me like a great idea right now, but let me know what you guys think about that. I think it might be pretty cool. Yeah, of course I would wish we would have more birds in there, but I think that's pretty cool. Just for a second I was thinking about the hornbill. That there's a mod out there which I actually could use if I would use mods, which I normally don't do, but yeah, maybe I'm thinking about that as well. I just don't know right now. What do you guys think about that? On the other hand, combining the hornbill with all of the other animals might be a little bit difficult, because the hornbill does have its own enrichment items, so it might look a little bit weird when the other animals are using those enrichment items, or the hornbill is using the enrichment items of the other animals, which might be a little bit problematic. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments what you guys think. But I'm really in it with the aviary thing. I think this could be pretty nice. And once again, would make perfect sense, because that is something that we don't have in here yet. And I'm thinking about which zoo has it been? I think it was Miami, where they also do have a huge walkthrough aviary. You go into some kind of a building where there's some, let me say, some aquariums and terrariums in there, and then you walk through Yeah, the aviary. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I want to do this. So once again, sorry for brainstorming whilst I'm doing the voiceover, but once again, let me know if you would like to see that. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm building 2 outdoor areas for the sloth bear. We do have 2 small ones, and in the end it is like it is with most of the habitats that we do have in here. They are slightly a little bit too small for the animals to be completely happy, but the animals are happy in the end. I think we would have needed like 900 square meters for 2 sloth bears, and we do have something about 700 or so. The rest of the habitat is completely perfect for them. Just size-wise, it is a little small. It would have been perfect if we wouldn't have the dry mode that you can see right here. Then the animals would have had enough space, I think. But we needed to have the dry mode because the animals would have been able to walk right next to our visitors. The visitors would have been able to pet the animals, and that is something that you definitely don't want to happen with some of those big bears. Even though it wouldn't have been a problem for the animals that they could have escaped, so they wouldn't have been able to escape, which blew my mind because yeah, the fence in front of the visitors is so small. Yeah, but the sloth bears wouldn't have been able to escape. So yeah, but I wanted to have something like a dry mode because I want our zoo to be some kind of modern, but also with a historical vibe. Does that make sense to you? So I wanted to have nice natural habitats, but also make it look like an actual zoo. And I hope I do accomplish that. So here's the gate between those 2 habitats, so that you could actually separate the animals. We do have boxes for 4 individuals. So we're having a male and a female right now. When we are going to have babies, we could separate the mother from the father, the mother with the babies from the father, and we actually could have 2 groups of bears in those 2 habitats. So we could have a male and a female on the right, and maybe the siblings on the left habitat. Which is also something that you would see in real zoos, because when you have babies, you often have to separate them from especially the fathers, and once they grow bigger, you also do have to separate them from the mothers. And if there is no other zoo around that can take care of those babies immediately, you have to have a solution where you can bring those animals to. So you would need something like a second habitat for those animals. Also wanted to have some natural climbing stuff in there. I don't think that sloth bears are that much of climbers. There are other bear species that are much more into that, like the American black bear, for example, and the Malayan sun bear as well. They are very, very good climbers. There are also some of the smaller bears out there. And I can't think of any other big bear species that is a great climber. No, all of the other bears prefer to stay on the ground, I think. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments, but I think most of them do prefer to stay on the ground. So I wanted to have some big trees in the habitat as well, so I decided to go for this eucalyptus tree. I think I put the rainbow one in the left habitat in the end. And putting lots of the Oceanian foliage here in those planters as well to give the whole habitat a little more of a Changli vibe. We're also going to work on the stone structure here, which I used the stalactites or stalagmites in here as well, so that it doesn't look that much of copied stuff. So I'm going to have some kind of the fig tree roots that we are going to put on the walls, and also the ivy, so that it looks a little bit more natural and Changli. Yeah, and here you can already see what I've talked about. We are going to connect the main path to the bears, which also would make sense. You have the natural path here around the water monitors and the binturong, which might not be that interesting to the main visitors. So bears definitely would be, so therefore it would make sense if the main path goes up there. Yeah, we are almost done with everything. I have to be honest, the fence here on the left side, which is the same that we used on the side of the monitors, might not be the greatest choice when it comes to keeping bears from escaping. But it looks cool. And it looks realistic. Well, not realistic in case of safety, but yeah, I just like it. Especially when you make it like this overgrown barrier. Just finishing the barriers, giving the habitat a name, and now having the animal enrichment items in here. Some food enrichment, some toy enrichment, and yeah, I think we might be okay. Yeah, just a little bit of those natural climbing structures in here. Using those dead trees, which are always looking great when you have something like a bear habitat. something similar over there. And here you go. So pretty easy to do something like this, and the animals are happy and do have enough climbing stuff in here that they would need. And here, as I already told you, putting in some of the fig tree roots into the walls to make it look a little bit different and give the whole thing a little bit more of a jungle vibe. And after that, and after putting in some ivy as well, I think we are good to go and can let the animals move in here. Yeah, and with that being said, we are already close to the end of the video. You're going to see the animals in the real-time part in a few seconds. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I hope you did like what I did here, and I look forward to hear what you guys think about the idea of the big aviary. So if you did enjoy today's episode, I hope you did, and I hope you will leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that already. So enjoy the last few minutes of the video with the real-time part, and I hope to see you guys in next week's episode, which is going to come out on Monday. So bye guys!